Welcome, travelers! If you're new here, my name is Brenna. I am your Just Say No to Drugs Kids DM, and welcome to Tales from the Catacombs. This is our tabletop RPG adventure that we are thrilled to share with you. This game uses the Dungeons&Dragons 5th edition system and rules, and the setting is a homebrew based on the rock album Razia's Shadow by Forgive Durden. And before we get too lost in our adventure for tonight, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We are on a push to 200 subscribers, and if we can get that, when we get that, before the end of the year, Catherine here, dressed in her beauty as always with her lovely flower crown, there it is! Catherine is going to be running an incredibly unique, very exciting one-shot for us in the new year, as a celebration for hitting 200 subscribers. But we need to do that before 12 o'clock a.m. January 1st, which is a holy day of obligation. Catholics out there, remember that. And also get us to 200 subscribers and we get a fun one shot. Also, leave a little comment below to help us with the fun algorithms, answering the following question. How do you respond to someone who slights you? Without further ado, please, Lord, enjoy this session of Razia's Shadow, a 1,000-year interlude. Let's recap. Session 39, The Illuminated Forest. The Vivere stepped through a portal with one face in Eurusha and stepped out of the dizzying colors into an awe-inspiring forest. They heard a troubling sound of worry behind them, but when they turned to look, the portal was gone. They stood in an opaque silver river that quickly became an aggressive flood, attempting to drag them downstream. They helped each other across to the riverbank safely, where a strange but beautiful creature clapped along with excitement. She introduced herself as Leandra and told them she could help them get to their destination back in the material realm. Whether it was her playful words or something about the place itself, Beau found himself suddenly craving blood, and he attacked Leandra, leading to a tense standoff before the feeling faded. Leandra led the Vivere through the illuminated forest, explaining to them more about where they were. While they were insistent to simply reach their destination, Leandra brought them to her little home to rest the night first. They spoke more before she hurried them to a makeshift guest quarters for the night. Viola was uneasy about Beau's display earlier, and how Ste'yn seemed to know more than she let on, but they were able to set the discomfort aside for the time being. In the new, strange morning, in that new, strange realm, the Vivere awoke to funny aches and unsettling feeling. When they opened the door to their room, they once again stepped out somewhere entirely different. They stood in a stretched hedge maze, one that Leandra had no intention of letting them leave. So, the four of you are now standing. Once Beau reached the ground again, you guys find yourself standing in this outstretched length of hedge maze. What you notice immediately around you, as you kind of get your bearings a bit more, is that where you're standing, there are two very large trees on either side of the path. Those thick, gnarled trees, and again, not in an ugly way, just in a very twisted, knotted way. These two trees are directly opposite one another, reaching up and over, creating a bit of an arc over your heads. You notice that all of the path leading in one direction is just the maze. It's the tall, very pristinely clipped and trimmed walls, these hedges, and it seems to reach on for well beyond your sight. You can see overhead the sky, which now has kind of twisted into that dark, deep blue you recall from before, also mixed with these swirls of kind of pinkish, as if it's anticipating daylight. But again, it makes the time feel very confusing. But that side of the path seems to keep going on just as far as you can see. The other way, we'll say that was right, and we'll say this is left, pick a direction. The other direction, the hedge is broken up by more of these thick trees. They're just packed in very tightly. You can barely make out any space between where the hedge meets the bark of the tree trunk and the rest of the trees. They're just unnaturally close together and twisting in those strange shapes. And everything about the trees and about this space kind of gives off this like gentle radiance, very similar to the little fruits, potentially coming from those little fruits that are hanging from those trees. So as far as you can see, you essentially have two directions that you could go in. And Leandra, you don't hear her voice currently anymore. So what are you doing?
Well,
Snow is just like,
Snow, do you want to identify these walls?
ooh, sure.
Identify, just for the record, is one of my favorite and also I hate it spells. Really like that. It do, in fact, be like that.
Yeah, he will. Did you say on the? Did Beau say the trees or the hedge, or did he make a distinction?
I mean, any
I
of
think
them.
he
Walls, whatever you want. It
yeah,
all
so
seems
he-
like it's probably magical.
Snow is practically bouncing on his feet. He is going to walk over to one of the hedges, and he's just going to trail his fingers across it as he walks, and he'll cast Identify on him.
Which direction are you walking?
Towards the fun trees.
Okay, the side
To the
that
left.
is more closed out. You start walking. Before the spell would have time to finish, you already come up to an intersection of walls in this hedge maze. It is 3 paths that you see. Are you going to, do you keep focusing on the Identify, or are you looking about instead? Not instead, but are you looking about?
What are the others doing? Are they following behind me, or?
Following. Yeah. You come up to this triple forked path. There is a left turn. To the left, you can see that this grass is trimmed very neatly. There are these yellow bulbous flowers that grow out from the walls. There's this gentle glitter that drifts through the air, kind of sparkling in the light from the fruits on the trees and giving off this sweet, very familiar kind of scent. Straight ahead, you can see another path lit by these little fruits. The grass here looks a little unkempt, kind of comes up to about your ankles. The leaves on the walls here look a little bit more spread out. Like you almost think that you can see where this golden light is escaping the path, escaping the labyrinth even. And then there's a path that turns to the right. That path, you can see it looks a lot more wild. It's got grass that's grown up to maybe 4 or 5 feet high. It's waving in some unfelt wind, but instead of kind of hearing that rustling you might hear, as wind goes across some large plain, you hear what sounds like a quiet, soft chiming, like a wind chime. And the more you listen, the more it starts to sound like laughter. And again, gives you this sense of familiarity to the sound. But the rest of the path is unclear in its darkness.
Well, do we want to wait until we know what these things, magic-wise, are having?
I'm fine with waiting.
We could wait a short moment. Seems like we have 3 very different choices for where to go next.
But there is one obvious choice. And that's
What's
the one that is the most wild.
How did I know you were going to say that?
Because it's obviously the best.
As you guys wait, you're waiting for this magic to finish up. Figure you only have another minute or 2. But I need you all to please make me a wisdom saving throw.
Love these.
I know you do.
Hey, I got that 20.
22.
20.
17.
15.
As you are waiting for Snow to finish, your thoughts feel like they're wandering as you're standing in this hedge maze. You're looking about. In some spots, there's just the maze, and some spots are these trees that are overgrown and reaching out over, and barely any light is coming through. Some is peeking through the canopies, but barely any, than just enough to see. The thoughts start to feel a touch intrusive, heavy, laden. And you're starting to get familiar with that laden feeling of just your own mind in this place. Just as you're finishing up the spell, Snow, and just as you guys kind of shake off this feeling, you can hear a little bit of laughter again, and you hear Leandra's voice, but it's just recognizable enough to be hers. It's overall changed. It sounds a little more cruel.
The little beasties think that they can handle all of the weight of the world on their shoulders, but you'll be stuck here forever and ever because darkness can't escape.
I think this lady's just crazy. I don't think we ever should have gone to her house. I think that was a poor choice.
Well,
I think
We
she
weren't injured a little bit.
I think she underestimates the light that we carry within us. She seems to only notice or see whatever dark she wants to perceive in us, and not the light that we hold.
Or maybe she is just bored and having fun. I'm having fun. Let me tell you about this hedge I just identified.
Of which you realize it's a hedge. It's natural
hedge,
to this
guys.
place.
It's
No,
not
it has
magical.
no.
Good thing we weren't hedging our bets on that.
Maybe more sentient than hedges you've been familiar with back where you're from.
It's like it's a freaky hedge, but it's still just a hedge.
That's reassuring, so much so.
Isn't it?
Is it?
We should figure out the way to get out of here. Which means picking a path.
Do we think that there's actually a way? What if it's just non-stop until we get exhausted?
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's little to no logic here. Or
Well, then we can just
pick-
go.
I mean, all the paths kind of seem the same-ish. None of them seem necessarily bad. So,
Well, just in case, we should probably link our minds if we get separated.
that's a good idea.
So he will go ahead and do that. We got it for 4 hours.
Woohoo!
That'd also be a good way to track the time, because it seems weird here, so we'll know when that's
It
up, that we've
immediately
been in here
ends.
approximately 4 hours. But perhaps if we're trying to understand, she thinks that darkness can't escape, should we go the path that's the darkest? Like the inverse of what we might want to do?
You're also welcome to do an investigation.
We will do an
Can
investigation.
we
I'd love to do an
investigate?
investigation.
You may investigate.
Got a 4. So
Nice.
she sees nothing.
Beau has a 14 or a 16 if needed.
Scratch your
Is that
die.
with advantage? I said I was assisting you.
Oh, I
Ooh.
see. No, it was not, so I might not roll that.
So
Okay,
you
I
got a
rolled
15.
2 sevens, so it really didn't make a difference. So
Okay, so mark that die.
yeah,
You look about the 3 options, kind of feel like maybe it's this way, that would make sense, but you take a closer look. The path to the left, with the very neatly trimmed grass and those bulbous flowers growing out of them, the scent that's coming out, again, it's that very familiar sweet scent. It reminds you of something from home, something from a very playful moment from home. Who rolled the highest?
I
The
think
16?
it was Beau. He got a 16, I got a 15.
Okay. Beau, what is the familiar, sweet, maybe not too sweet, scent that you recall as you're looking down that path and the wafting smell hits you?
I guess if it's from home and it's sweet, it probably has a mixture of maple and I think a hint of vanilla and a little bit of cinnamon.
Just a touch. Doesn't that sound good?
Mhm.
I just want you all to know Beau's baking recipes is all.
Baking with Beau.
Can we please have that?
Yes! That'd be excellent. Ste'yn, what do you smell? What's that sweetness that wafts up your nose?
Probably like wild honey. Yeah, wild honey. Florals.
Appropriate, maybe from your times traveling. Viola, what scent hits you?
Probably lavender.
As if you're staring at or sitting beside comfortably some familiar bush, just basking in it romantically. And snow.
It smells like a cinnamon pastry, freshly baked.
And all of you, this smells kind of wafts at you all at once, but just as you were kind of able to control yourself a few moments ago, you feel something heavy again trying to lean in on you, but you're able to shake it off. And you note that those flowers that are down that way are also kind of moving a bit. And every time they move a bit, more of this dust goes out in that particular path. And it almost seems like it might come to a dead end on that side. I think you see some kind of wall beyond where it's mostly lit. The forward path, it looks a little bit unkept, this one. You note that the slightly raised grass in it also seems to be moving a bit on its own. But this not in the same way like the big wisps of wind seem to be moving the other one. This seems to be moving in kind of strange, unnatural ways. And then the path to the right, the main thing you note, one is that the grass is much taller, and the other is that it's the only one that isn't lit. It's dark. It's more dependent on you, is that feeling you kind of get as you look down that path and decide where you might want to go. And that laden feeling that almost seems to be trying to get your attention seems a little bit stronger on that one. You're still able to keep it at bay now with some ease, but it feels stronger in that direction.
All right, so we either go forward or down the dark path.
Dark path.
I think we gotta go down the dark path.
Why are we thinking that one?
I think it
Because
would
we have
make
to
the most
prove that we're light.
sense. Show that we can not
What
be
if-
deterred by whatever dark might be within us that we brought, but rather that our own light is enough to bring us forward.
Or she's checking to see if we would just take it because she would anticipate people of the light staying in the light.
2 good points. I think we should just pick one and then go.
We could.
Viola will take out the coin from her crown and offer to flip it.
That works.
Heads or tails, Snow?
Well,
Heads.
and heads means dark path or no?
The
And you're
path that he chose, which was the dark path.
Yeah, dark path. Dark
Okay.
heads.
Flipping
Light.
the coin.
Tails.
It is tails. We take the path of light.
Going forward, Snow has used disguise self to make himself look 1 inch taller because he wants to know if anyone will notice or if they'll just be slightly put off by it. It's not
Amazing.
enough to be super noticeable, but he just wants to make
But just-
people curious.
This much taller.
Just a little bit.
Sure. So you've chosen, so not the dark path, but rather you're choosing which one, the left or forward?
The forward one.
Forward.
You start walking forward, ignoring the path that is only just barely light enough to see through it.
As you say, when they said it was a shortcut through the Fey realm, this is not what I envisioned that to be.
Seems to be more of a long cut.
Shortcuts make long delays sometimes.
I've heard that phrase too.
I guess it
Yes,
depends
I've
on how
heard
much
that
time
before.
passes in our world. For all we know, we could be still on the afternoon of the day we left.
I hope we haven't
True.
lost too much time. We have.
What if we
Anything to
made more time?
That's
if
what I
we
was just
get
gonna
back
say. It'd be
before we
wonderful
leave?
if we gained
That'd be
time.
so fun.
I don't
As you-
understand this place.
As you
Yeah,
are
I'm
discussing the possibilities of how much time is gained or lost, I need you all to please make me a Constitution saving throw.
I prefer this
15
to
in.
wisdom.
That is a 16.
Dirty 20.
15.
You feel, as you start walking through the grass, something begins tugging at your legs, at your feet. And there is this sudden rush of more of those sparkles like you saw in the other path that seem to be coming from nowhere. So just somewhere below you. It kind of starts to cling to you.
Beau's gonna jump on the wall.
Okay.
He's like a cat.
Beau jumps over to the wall. The glittering, sparkling kind of it kind of moves in the air that of the swiftness that Beau jumps, and you can see it swirl as it moves in another direction
Ooh.
in the wind stream. You feel your skin kind of tingle, but nothing seems to happen. It starts to settle, but you look beyond. You look a little further ahead, keep walking, and you realize that it is in fact a dead end.
And
well.
back we go.
Yes, we just have to go down the dark path.
Dag.
Yes.
You come back ahead. The
Wait, is
Dust.
it dark enough that Viola has any vision issues?
Viola would have vision issues. This would be
Hey,
dim.
Ste'yn, you wanna light up my
Diane just
coin
goes
again?
and taps the coin in her crown. It's a little
Thank
boop,
you.
and it glows.
All right. You make your way back. The sparkle dust is still settling back into the grass. The grass, for the time being, stops moving. Come back to this large area, and instead, you choose the path that is dark. You kind of had to push your way through. The grass is, for looking
But Beau's
so
continuing
wispy.
on the wall, for reference.
Okay, yeah. And the walls do go fairly high. You are climbing along the walls. You almost have, this becomes unsteady terrain. It is slowing the ones who are walking. It is slowing you down.
A giant scythe
Notably.
would be really useful right now.
The what?
Uh-huh.
What would be useful?
Oh,
A giant scythe, you know, you like.
Oh.
Because someone's got to cut the grass.
Best I can do is a rapier.
Not bad.
Quite the same effect.
Viola will actually, with that mention, she's going to take out her 2 short swords and just...
Wait, maybe we shouldn't damage the environment?
It's just
Yeah,
grass.
that probably isn't the best. Well, everything's kind of a little bit more alive here. I don't know if you've noticed. So maybe...
Fine.
Yeah, maybe don't. And we don't
She'll
need
put
it
her swords
anyway.
back away.
You're not going to cut the grass?
Well, she started to, but then she put her swords away.
Everyone please give me a perception check.
Got a 21.
Got a 24.
25.
16.
As you're describing, or as you're explaining to Viola, maybe don't use your sword on this very tall, strangely hardy grass. You also hear this little rumbling behind you. And when you look, you can see that the path that was otherwise just a straight line, beeline that looked like it was going to the horizon, it starts to close in. The trees themselves shift in the ground. There's no plumes from dirt moving or anything. It's just a natural, slow movement until it closes off. And you hear Leandra's laughter. Again, darker and more cruel, more cold.
Lucky guess, lucky guess. I guess even the dark can get it right sometimes. But no going back now.
We don't need to go back. We move forward with the light in our hearts.
Do you think she hears us?
I don't know. It makes me feel better to say it out loud. Otherwise, it's just sort of spiraling in my mind. So it might as well be out in the world.
You both are very dramatic. But that's okay.
I try. If you're not noticed, I am drama.
He uses disguise self to look exactly like Ste'yn.
Ew, now 2 of them look the same.
Yeah, a little bit short.
Do you know this is grownish?
I'm glad someone noticed. You're very perceptive.
I know.
And you keep going. There are multiple twists and turns, you realize, as you come up to another intersection of the walls. Here, the canopy is just slowly knitting closer and closer until you reach a point where, as you're traveling down one of these paths, it has almost no light from beyond. No light from outside. It's just the light from these little fruits. They're just glowing through this maze. You reach up to grab one. Give me a strength athletics check.
That is a 16.
You reach up. It has a very thin stem on it. And you reach for this very pear-shaped looking fruit. It actually has some tug. It's not just popping right off. And you need to put some effort before you hear the little snap. And it comes off from the tree into your hand.
What does it smell like?
It smells very earthy, not sweet. It smells like rugged.
Don't eat that.
Can you clerics cleanse food or something?
Only if she
Potentially.
meditated.
Oh,
on
did
it.
you not meditate for that one?
I did not meditate for that one. Sorry, I'm more focused on keeping you alive than protecting yourselves from poisoning yourselves with strange fruit.
There's no reason to assume that it's poison.
Well,
I
Yes,
think
and
there's
every-
plenty of reasons to assume that it's not good for you.
I disagree. Most fruit is good for you. In
I
fact,
mean,
I can't think of a
admittedly,
fruit that isn't.
we didn't have breakfast this morning.
That's true.
And we didn't
Hungry.
have dinner last night.
Oh my gosh. I'm
How you
not carrying
feeling?
you if you pass out.
What's it taste like?
It's sweeter than you expected, considering the outside was just very that earthy smell. But when you bite into it, it's kind of fleshy like an apple. You can see it's very juicy, and little drips are coming down around the bite. Some of it on your chin, and it tastes really good. You feel kind of immediately just like rejuvenated as you're reminded that you haven't eaten. You haven't eaten in a minute. Give me a Constitution saving throw, please.
5.
This
This
intro.
is so good, guys. This is delicious.
It's so delicious.
I don't know what you were worried about.
Many things.
A 5 exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You bite into the fruit and you're savoring it for a moment. Your hand still pretty close to your mouth. It's just enjoying these different flavors, or the difference of the flavor from the outside. It just met your expectations, or exceeded your expectations. You kind of close your eyes as you're basking in it. And what you guys see is just Snow standing there, very still, fruit by his mouth, eyes closed, breathing just very steady, very shallow. And then he starts to tip backwards as he would technically be under the condition of stunned, falls backwards.
Stop him from falling.
Snow, you are incapacitated.
How high up do you reach? Because I'm not actually that tall. If you reach for like the shoulders, you'll pass out.
Give me a dexterity acrobatics check.
That's a 17.
Yeah, you know what Snow's magic is like, and you know the differences between your own heights. You're able to catch him well enough. Maybe a little bit higher than like around his waist or lower back or whatever, but you're able to catch him as he falls backwards. And that's when his arm seems to finally fall and the fruit falls and he is incapacitated, unconscious in your arms.
Oh,
I already said I'm not carrying him, so Stan, that's on you. I love you, but no, I'm not doing it.
and we'll pick him up.
Well, let's keep it moving.
You're gonna just kind of hoist Snow over your shoulder, however you want to do it. Fireman
carrying him in
carry.
his arms, more like
Like he's not like stiffened, right? He's just like kind of like,
No,
okay.
he's
Because imagine if he was like still holding
Just
the fruit like a statue.
I thought about it for a minute. I did.
Snow, if you can hear me, no more eating wild fruits in the Fey realm.
Well, maybe also in regular.
There's plenty of fruit that you would only eat once.
What are you guys doing?
I
Continuing
guess
forward.
there's still not like an alternate path, right? So it's just walking until
Yeah.
something happens, I guess.
Forward
Mhm.
until we see something.
Give me a survival check as you guys are carrying on.
I got a 15.
21.
I got a 6.
It is still pretty dark, Viola, so that's all right. It makes sense. And you're trying to follow with your little beam of light headlamp, but you do still rely on those who have slightly better vision. Probably, well, no, you got the light, it's fine. So you guys continue on. You come across a few more paths that don't seem terribly dangerous per se, but as you kind of suspected a few times, they just feel like they're looping you in circles. Every now and then you can hear where that same rumbling where the trees began moving. You can hear more of that wind chime kind of sound, and you hear every now and then just some cackling just from somewhere, everywhere almost.
So they get the feeling they're going in circles.
Occasionally, where you choose a different path and it starts to take you what feels like a straight line. I need another wisdom saving throw. Snow, you're still unconscious for now.
14.
11.
12.
It's a little disheartening as you go down those paths that are kind of feeling like they're looping you, and you miss as that laden feeling in the air starts to creep up again and begins to kind of overwhelm your thoughts a bit. Thoughts get heavy. They just have you thinking, and you start to lose focus on where you're going in the maze. As you are turning down another path, and this one, again, it's getting notably darker as you go. At this point, the tree canopies are entirely knit together. There is no outside light except these fruit and the, I guess, little light from Viola's crown and the coin. You do occasionally see what appear to be figures, like little shadows that will peep around a corner and then disappear. And every time that happens, you feel inclined to look down that path. As you look one of the times, the little shadow it's further down, but it's stopped. It's just in sight and slowly turns around. And you see someone who looks familiar. You see someone who you feel like you need to reach out to, whether it's because you want to check on them, whether because you've let them down and you need to make up for it. You see someone. Beau, who do you see? Who is the shadow?
Someone that feels like he let down.
Just someone you need to reach out to. It could be for any of those given reasons or your own.
Can come back to him.
Sure. Ste'yn?
So if it's someone she needs to reach out to, most pressing one in her mind would be Leah, to see how they're doing.
And you see her pink hair just peeking out behind her scarf, just as the last time you saw her. And you see her arms are held together, and there is a little bundle in her arms, but she looks scratched. She looks cut up. There's fresh blood on her cheeks and on her hands as she's looking at you with these really sad eyes. And she opens her mouth and you hear her say,
Where are you? You're supposed to help us. You promised.
do you respond?
Ste'yn just takes a step back and like turns to look and see if there's anything behind, and then she'll look back at Clea, like trying to get a read on the situation. But she's not going to respond.
There is only one figure down that path. Viola, who do you see when that shadow turns around?
She sees her mom.
I mean, technically, you did reach out to her. It's just
You've
pending.
done your job. You've done your due diligence. Forget that. Mom, I'll be there. But this golden-haired beauty turns and looks as strong as ever, looks prepared for battle, and somehow still smiling warmly towards you. And she looks, as she catches eyes with you, the smile fades just a little bit. And you know your mom never wants you to see her looking unhappy, because she's not unhappy when you're near her. And she, with her slightly weakened smile, and she says,
I know you're trying. I know you'll get here.
do you respond?
Oh, Viola feels like she's really there.
Yeah.
Or is Viola, like,
It's-
is she able to, like, understand that it's a...
You understand it would be very strange for your mother to be standing directly there,
Okay.
but that is uncanny, and it is her voice and it is her words, and you want to reach out to her so much.
Yeah, she just gets kind of choked up and nods her head yes.
Ste'yn, when you're looking back behind you and you look back forward towards the shadow, towards Glia, and you can see Viola also seems to be acknowledging the shadow with holding back tears, nodding her head. Beau?
So thinking from the perspective of someone he feels like he needs to, I'm going to say one of the elf twins, because he still has the thought that their lives are in danger. So I feel like that would be the one that would come to mind right now. I don't know which of the twins, but one of them, unless it forms
one.
two of them. I mean, it doesn't matter to me which one. So whichever one you want to use imagery for.
Oh, okay. It doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to Beau.
Well, I mean, he feels like they're equally in trouble, so I feel like it would be equally of mind.
I will say, okay, when the shadow turns, we'll say it's Pauli, because he's the one who had the sending stone to reach out to other people you might be interested in reaching out to. And he looks back at you, and he's holding that little case in his arms. The little box. It's closed, but you know what would be in it. And he says,
You're supposed to be heroes. You sure you can do this? Are you very sure?
do you respond?
Beau's just gonna throw a knife at him, because he knows that he can't be there. So he's gonna make a psychic blade and just throw it at it.
Okay, roll an attack with advantage.
Okay. So that's gonna be a dirty 20.
A dirty 20 will hit.
And am I rolling damage, or is it just fine?
Yeah, go ahead, roll your damage. Let's see how much you hit.
15 psychic damage.
As the blade strikes right into Pauli's chest before, as psychic blades will do, vanishing. And the shadow vanishes in your eyes. It becomes just a blackened shadow and disappears. Ste'yn and Viola, what you see is a blade striking into Ste'yn into Glia's chest, just above where she is holding that baby. It was dangerously close. Viola, you see this blade strike right at a vulnerable point in your mom's armor. They look shocked for a moment. And you guys have a moment of panic. Please give me another wisdom saving throw.
All of those, or just those two?
Nope, just those two.
That's a natural 20 for a 27.
I thought I rolled a 1, but it was a 7.
I saw you were concerned. I was just like, uh-oh.
Inter-party fighting again!
Still a little concerned. That's a 9.
Ste'yn, as soon as the blade strikes and you see that surprise on Glia's face, just above where the baby is, almost immediately before you even have a chance to truly panic, you see the black wash over and the shadow appear and then disperse. Viola, you see your mother's face, her eyes widen. She looks down at the blade and it seems to linger in your eyes. It takes a few seconds as she's looking at you And for the first time, it's like disappointment. It's how could you let this happen? And then it becomes a shadow.
Does she recognize
disappears.
the dagger as one of Beau's psychic daggers? Okay.
Definitely. You're left with that lingering feeling of just a little bit of, what could I have done? But you do recognize now that it was some trick of this labyrinth.
I sit at Ste'yn for half a second, almost dropped Snow, but then caught him right back. Just the shock of seeing all that.
I love that. You have inspiration for that.
Beau just looks very cold at this moment. Like cold looking, not like physically cold. If I clarify.
Beau needs a jacket.
Let's keep moving. Try not to look at more shadows.
Sounds like a plan.
That cackling follows you as you continue walking.
Snow's still stunned.
Has he moved at all?
No, Snow starts to stir in your arms, Ste'yn. Snow, you are coming back to consciousness. You missed the fun as you come back up. It felt a little bit tacky from the juice from the fruit. Still tastes good. Actually, no, it doesn't at this point. At this point, it's gone a bit sour in your mouth.
That was good. Thanks for
Not
waking me up.
again. And she'll set him on his feet.
Do we feel like we're making actual progress here?
I think
so.
we are. You've been
Is there anything else to do besides move forward?
I have a thought that we should try. I think you all should walk ahead, and I'll stay back some.
I don't think it's anything like that.
Doesn't
Well,
the
we
path
have...
disappear though behind us?
And you hear that rumbling again.
Oh,
path
it's
is
been
closed
doing
off.
that the whole time?
But it seems to be only
Yes,
doing
as you
that
progress.
as we're
Okay.
walking. If somebody
long
stays
as we're
back
fast
here,
enough to
it's
move
likely not going to close.
Can I tie a rope to you just in case if we're really gonna do that?
Why do you think that would change things?
Well, she keeps
and Ste'yn's going to
cackling.
mind link over to Beau.
I don't think it's because of your dampierness that we're in this situation. She seemed to find something dark in each of us, pretty consistently, pretty evenly.
Well, we have no way of confirming that. We might as well try something different.
We're not leaving you behind.
You can catch up easy.
I don't want to risk it. You have
The pros, to me, seems to outweigh the cons. We can at least try it. If nothing changes, then we
Are you
assume.
going to answer, or are y'all just going to keep staring at each other for a really long time in silence?
Yes.
See, he blinked first. That was very fun. A good staring contest, Beau.
I think you're normally a better liar than that.
No, my thinking is that she potentially is looking at certain people in our group and maybe holding the collective accounted for, and that would be me. Thinking back when we met her, she, one, has a very black and white view of the dark. She also seemed to be she only indicated that I lied when 2 out of the 4 of us, well, 2 out of the 3 of you guys have lied to her. So the fact that she
Am I
seems
one
to...
of those? I don't remember.
Yes.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. I don't know if you did it intentionally or not, but either way, that's besides the point.
All the same.
So, my thinking is that she probably already clocked what I am, which means we should probably separate.
What are you?
So, I am technically also a feral. So, they are from the dark, which means she might not like me because of that. Also, me attacking her probably didn't earn me any grace.
See, I feel like that's probably the part that makes it most likely. But yeah, we're not going to leave you behind, so let's go.
Well, no, I think we should try it.
I think it would be
No.
more of the dark to let you stay behind.
I mean,
And
this
risk
is
your life
all
and other
guesswork
lives.
on both sides. We might as well try our options.
No, because best case scenario in that instance is that we make it out and you get left behind.
And then you guys at least get to do what we need to. We can't spend the rest of our lives walking around in a labyrinth.
It's been like 20 minutes. We'll be
As far
fine.
as we know, we could be in here for a lot longer. We don't know the time difference.
But we don't have reason to suspect that. And anyway, we're not leaving you, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I could just not walk.
I could just carry you.
Why would we
You can
waste
do
our
that.
energy on this?
How about this? We'll continue forward, for a time. We'll continue forward for a time. And we know that things like a mind link won't last forever, certain other spells don't last forever. We get the sense that a lot of time is passing by the fading of such things. Then perhaps we try something different.
I mean, it hasn't been an hour yet because...
Yes, you still look beautiful.
Thank you, I know.
I'm more
You feel the
concerned
hour
about the
coming up
progression
close.
of time in our actual world.
I mean, we don't have any way to judge that, so why worry about it?
Because there are things that need to get done.
Worrying
Alright.
doesn't help. So let's go.
And I think we're all going to be vital to accomplishing those things.
And so
I don't
far,
think-
we're just walking.
We're making progress, I think. It'd be great if our little lovely laugher, Cackler, could maybe, I don't know, give any sort of insight or any sort of...
Well, she continued
Word.
laughing after I presented my idea.
This sounds like fun. All of it. Leave. Do whatever you like. None of you are leaving. Follow the shadow.
going to follow the shadows, but
Look at
I
that.
don't...
Confirmation, though. It's not just you,
Seems
it's
like-
all of us. So let's go.
Why would we think that she's telling the truth right now?
Why would she lie?
That's been her most consistent thing, honestly, since we got in here, is that none of us are getting out of here.
And also, she was really mad when others did not. So
She
I
didn't-
don't think she lies. But even if she does, it doesn't matter. Let's go.
Viola,
I think you should stay with the group.
we'll give it until your disguise goes down.
Well, that might be soon. How about we go until the mind link goes down?
If it's soon, then we better walk quickly, because I don't think we're going to change Beau's mind any more than we already have. So
I
let's
mean, I don't-
walk quickly.
Doesn't really make a difference.
Let's continue forward, and we'll reassess when the moment comes. We're wasting time just standing here talking about it all, and that's
Mhm.
not very light of us either. I don't know, there are things in my head that I'm just saying because there's awkward silences these days, and
No, it's good. You should keep doing that.
I don't know if I want to keep doing that, but it feels like I have to in a way. It's just so much.
Maybe
And
because
it's
you
just-
haven't slept in days.
I can't sleep, which honestly has been a nice breather from all those dreams.
So, are you carrying on? If you continue down this path where that shadow was, is that the plan?
I think Wait, so the shadow led us down a different path than we had been following, correct?
It's all this way and that way to you guys at this point. But yes, it was a turn.
Stick into
Sure.
the shadows. And Snow will use prestidigitation to make sparks and little lights.
Every now and then, as you step through the grass that seems to be varying heights depending on which path you're down, sometimes crunching beneath your feet, sometimes very, very low, sometimes reaching up to your knees. Some of the paths get thinner, some get wider. But you do find another straightaway. It seems to go for some 100 feet when you realize that these tree branches have the height seems to have gone up. It is higher up. There's more of the trees versus the hedge itself, but they're still so unnaturally close together that there's no way to look through them. And this entire area is entirely dark. The only light now comes from the light from Viola's coin. You stand there for a few seconds in this pitch blackness. You hear that rumble again from the direction you had come. Kind of gives you a sense of there might not be another exit back that way. But as you stand there, or as you kind of make your way through, you do reach what appears to be another dead end. And as you get there, you see there is another tree trunk of this massive oak tree. It's got these kind of carved in lines. Well, it's marred with these black lines in the bark. As you look at them, they just kind of look again like those scribbles, kind of like Leandra's books. But the longer you look at these random swirls on this bark, you can see that they're also surrounded by what looks like little bits of the fine dark residue, little dusty black residue. And then they start to shift into what looks like various languages, and then shifts again and shifts again. At one point, it's Elven. I think all 4 of you know Elven.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
Mhm.
It's Elven. It switches, but we'll say of it as it loops, it does settle on Common. And you see that it reads, I cast shadows long and short, find my source and find support. And just as it says that, just as you read that, a light appears. This long line of light that just kind of cuts through this dark. It's this line of warm light, but as it appears, the shadows around it feel darker, and it makes that light very, very clear. It breaks into these 3 crisscrossing lines that kind of fall between you and this path. And then a few seconds later, sweeps again and it's gone. Then there's another light, another line. It's this pale, blinding light. It also crisscrosses along this for a few seconds, and then it's gone. But the darkness around it felt dimmer by comparison. The shadow a little more hazy when that light appeared. And then it's also gone. And every few seconds, these lights kind of alternate. A warm light, and then it's a blinding pale light. What are you doing?
Can we see where the source of the light is at all? Like where they're coming from?
Boy, if only. You can
Do
give me
they
an
seem
investigation
to-
check.
Do they seem to be coming from 2 different directions?
Give me an investigation check.
Okay.
That's a 21.
I also got a 21, but I can also get higher if we need higher.
You're good.
Okay.
15.
You note that every time the light appears, it appears to be coming from higher up, almost like fun, like disco lights at like a club. Honestly, it's kind of cool if it weren't potentially keeping you trapped here for eternity. But it's coming from higher up. You're not quite sure where, but it's definitely somewhere within where the canopies of the trees are meeting. There's one that seems to be coming from, like if you're just looking down the path, from like the right wall, and it cuts through. And then from the other side, when that light appears, it cuts through, with the cool light coming from the right-hand side, the warm light coming from the left-hand side, and then alternating every few seconds.
I cast shadows long and short, find my source and find support. I think it means the sources of the lights.
That
Or do
was
we
my
think it-
Where shadows
inclination.
come from?
The shadows seem darker with that warm light. I don't remember which side it is, the left. So that would be, I'd be more inclined to think that that would be what would be casting shadows.
Maybe get up there and see what's causing these lights. They both tried climbing the start of this and didn't get anywhere. It looks very funny, but it didn't get anywhere.
Can't hurt.
They look like they're coming out of the wall or from above the wall.
For those who got over a 20, it looks like it's coming from different spots, 2 different spots within the canopy of the trees. So
Okay.
beyond this first lower branches, it looks like the source is somewhere up from 2 of these trees.
Beau, you feel like climbing a tree?
I can, but if it's not on your end looking like I'm doing anything, let me know.
Gotcha. Viola's watching Beau like a hawk.
What? I don't think you need to watch that. If he's frozen in place, I would hope you wouldn't need to watch him too hard.
What if she just wants to?
Alright, he's gonna head up.
She's looking for signs of what feral he is, how feral he is, why
How?
feral he is.
But not when, because time is weird here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Beau, you head towards which tree are you heading towards?
Whichever one looks like it's gonna get me to one of those light sources the quickest.
Well, there's 2 trees that it appears either light is coming from. So there's one on the left wall, that's one's beaming out the warmer light. The one on the right beams out that cooler light. So it's a left or a right tree.
Well, if no one has a preference, he'll go for the left one because he's a lefty.
You got this. You have
appreciate it.
inspiration.
Alright.
As you start heading towards the tree, the warm light streaks out. Make me a dexterity acrobatics.
16.
You start making your way to the tree, the light beams out, and you can feel it. It is warm. And first, from one distance, it's warm. As you start to get closer to it and you're going to cross with the light, it gets too warm. And you're able to pull your hand back, getting the sense that if you were to touch that, it would be much too warm and would probably hurt. You guys see the light kind of pierces off in its crisscrossing way. And if you want to move closer, you also need to time it or dodge it.
Does it seem like there's a specific point where it starts? So is the light, when you say it's crisscrossing, is it just like sweeping back and forth, or is
Like a
it
pendulum?
fracturing into three different?
It fractures. It hits
I want to look for the
point
fracture points.
Okay.
Like, is
Give
there
me-
something there that's making it split, like a crystal or something?
Give me an investigation check.
Well, that's a good one. That's a dirty 20.
You guys are watching Beau make his way to the tree. You see him kind of pull back a little bit as the light appears. And you watch it split off one way, split off another way. It takes a moment for that light to fade, and then the other light appears. And you realize that they're passing each other, like somewhere against the walls. They are kind of pinging and then splitting, and they do it, I guess, twice. But the second time round feels almost more like a sway versus a distinct fracture, like the first spot it fractured. So somewhere along the wall, probably about your head height, and you can see that's where trees are, various knots on the trees. You can see where it pinged.
I'm gonna relay that to the group and head towards the trees to see what's happening there.
You start to move. Give me dexterity acrobatics check. Beau, you get to the tree and you start to climb. You can also give me an acrobatics check as you're climbing up the tree.
That's an 11.
That is an 18.
Beau, it's easy enough for you to climb up. You see... Actually, before we get to what you see, Ste'yn, you start making your way across the path to where you see that light had pinged, but the pale light sweeps in. You feel it come across you, and it burns tremendously, leaving this kind of burn mark along your arm. It's going to give you 5 points of fire damage as you cross the path and get to the wall. Beau, you get up to the canopy. You move the branches around, and you can see what appears to be a little metal candle holder. It's shaped like kind of an odd shape. It's sort of like a dish top, a little bowl. The leg of it is beautiful. It's ornate. It looks like it's designed to look like a golden tree. But the insert of it it's shaped. It's not just a circle. It looks like it's shaped like a keyhole. And you can see before you touch it, if you should touch it.
Before he touches it, can I investigate it for traps?
Please. While you do that, Ste'yn, you manage to get your way across, only a little bit singed. Just another day for Ste'yn. And you see the knot of the tree that the light bounced off of, and you can see there is a little bit of a singe mark there.
Investigate that, looking for anything peculiar beyond just the singe mark. Like maybe a secret opening, a compartment, or something hidden in the tree itself.
Give me an investigation check. Give me a wisdom check. Not a wisdom.
Nature?
Actually, yes. Give me a nature.
That is a 17.
You are looking it over, maybe a little hesitant to touch it at first, realizing it doesn't hurt you as you touch it. But just as you get to kind of moving your hand over it, pressing a bit, it does seem to move inward. Just as, Beau, you see the candle holder kind of flash. It becomes blinding as another beam of light comes from it in that direction towards you. Ste'yn, please give me another dexterity. Acrobatics. What are
That's
you
a natural 20?
as you pull your hand quickly away and the light stops at the knot. It doesn't split, it doesn't move, it stops there before pulling back. Snow and Viola, what are you guys doing?
Viola's watching Beau like a hawk, like she said she would.
There. Just wanted to make sure.
Snow is more watching Ste'yn, curious of what she's attempting.
Yeah, and you watch as her hand kind of like pushes in on this tree knot. And then you see the light that was about to strike her pauses there, goes back up in the tree where Beau is. Beau, how did you do on that roll?
14.
Nothing seems to stand out as far as traps related, although you were just there with just enough canopy cover to avoid being entirely blinded by the sudden beam of light. But you're not necessarily sure you'll be so lucky again. But you don't spot any traps necessarily around it.
All
Nothing
right.
stands out.
He's gonna try to move it. Does it look like it's movable? Like that you can grab it and move it?
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of just settled in this flat spot in the tree branches.
All right, then he's gonna try and pick it up.
Okay, you pick it up.
And then I guess her
You're
start.
fine, Beau.
There was a candle holder.
Is there a candle we can light? Maybe that's the light.
I have a candle.
Well, it has a
Okay.
key inside.
Ste'yn, give you another perception check, please. Or a perception check, please.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a 26.
Maybe
Maybe
it goes
the-
in the knot.
As you lift your hand, you pull your hand back after that beam of light almost burned your hand off. You look again and you see that the knot is pushed in, and this piece of the wood looks like it is, in fact, movable.
If it seems like it wants to pull out, try to pull it out. If it seems like it wants to be pushed further in, just push it further in. Like, try to move it the way it needs to be moved.
Yeah. You finagle with it, you kind of push it in and kind of twist a little, almost like a cap, and you feel it leave your hand as it kind of sits into this wide inner part of the tree. And in there, you spot this lonely looking wax candle. But what looks odd about it is that it appears to be in the shape of a key.
I think I found the key. Ste'yn
Right.
will take the candle out of the tree.
You have a candle, a wax candle in the shape of a key.
Let's put the two together.
Yeah, but it's gonna meet up with Ste'yn to connect them.
Connect
Both
the
of you
dots.
make a dexterity acrobatics as the pale light comes beaming through.
I got a 19.
14.
In your excitement of finding this key after Beau found that candle holder, this candle, the pale light from the other tree comes sweeping through. It also fractures and bounces, and you catch part of it on your other arm, taking 6 points of fire damage.
Since
I'm sorry, that one is radiant damage, which you're resistant to.
It's only 3 points.
I forgot which light source is which.
The one with this was fire. That one's radiant.
I wouldn't know. I've never got touched by it.
Anyway, one is warm and one is pale and blinding.
True.
All right. Well, you wanna pass me the candle?
Take the key.
All right. I was gonna insert the candle.
You insert the candle, and you hear more cackling all around you. But you also see a little flame burst out from the wick of the candle. For being such a small flame, it does seem to light this whole area. And you can see back where that large trunk of the oak tree is. Now the whole thing is lit, slightly radiating. You hear Leandra's voice again, and you can almost picture her in some haughty pose, watching you from somewhere.
While only in the dark we work so well together. Can't believe you're still. If you were really of the light, can't believe you would still walk with something that admits it's from the dark. Goes to show.
Takes one to know one.
All right. So it's an opening show with this light glowing now, like a walkway. It's just we're in a light room.
You're in a lit passage now with a great big oak tree up front and burn marks that spell those words.
Should we look for the other light source? Maybe there's another candle and key. We might need both of them.
Is there still
Okay.
lights flickering around to indicate that there's like another set?
Is the pale light still happening?
It is not.
Maybe we look
Maybe
at
we need to double back.
the big. Well, maybe we need to investigate this big tree a little bit more.
Check it out again. Could do that.
Well, the bigger one with the words on it, maybe the light changes something. I don't know. Did the way behind us open back up?
You didn't hear anything change, and it's far back there. Even as far as this light goes, it only seems to be lighting this area and that great big tree. That is slightly resonating with.
Yeah, let's look at
Viola's
the tree
gonna
in
walk
the
over
light
the tree.
of our new candle.
If you are looking closer, give me an Arcana check. Whoever would like to.
Can I assist Snow?
Who's holding the candle?
Beau is.
Roll with advantage.
Nice. So Beau has a dirty 20 or 26 if needed.
Also 26.
Actual
Viola got an
26.
18.
Beau, it becomes particularly clear to you, holding this candle close, that something about the tree seems welcoming of that light. Snow, you realize very quickly that where those marks were and the little residue bits around it was like ash. And those marks have changed again. But now they are also in the shape of it's a little hard to say exactly what it is. It looks like a very basic kind of pentagonal shape, but it also seems to fit. It has like a little rounded spot in it, similarly to the knot in the tree. It seems to have a dip in it, or a ditch.
Put the whole candle holder in there, perhaps?
Sure.
Doesn't fit.
Beau will try and do that.
I'm just like, why is Beau having such a tude? Sure. Beau, you go ahead and you place the candle holder into the opening, and it fits perfectly. It sits, and you kind of feel it, or something that you can't quite see, kind of feels like it grabs hold. And as you take your hand away from it, the little kind of pentagonal symbol that was there, everything within it starts to burn, and it looks almost like glass. The way the light reflects against the glass section of this little symbol on the tree, it almost looks like you're looking from within, like a lamp holding this fire. And before you have too much time to admire, you quickly realize the tree is starting to singe, and then it is starting to burn. In seconds, you have to back up as you are standing in front of this pyre that just lights up. There's no smoke coming off of it. It's just fire, all consuming. And then almost as quickly as it appeared, it goes out. There's nothing remaining of the tree, the candle holder, the candle. There is a little piece of glass that is still sitting on the ground. And then there is...
gonna grab the piece of glass.
Mark that you've got a pentagonal piece of glass.
Did you say a path opened up in front of us?
Yes, ma'am. You look ahead and you see another great long straightaway.
Well,
Neat.
Let's get to moving, y'all.
Give me another survival check. It is lighter here as well. While the walls of the labyrinth still reach up quite high, and there's still a number of these trees that are very close together, and the canopy reaches over, more of the light is coming through from outside. You can see the sky just barely. You see parts of it where it's that deep blue, but now instead of a pink, it looks almost more like a yellowish red mixed into the sky above. How'd we do on our survival?
I got a 16.
17.
Your ranger, ladies and gentlemen, got a 5.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Snow, with his absolute wonder and no fear whatsoever of this magic that has already tried to hurt people, starts walking forward, feeling very confident in the paths he's taking. Fairly confident in the paths he's taking, but still enjoying himself. Beau treading a little more carefully. Beau taking a little more caution as he's going through, figuring out ahead of time where a few paths are a little less friendly. You come across one path that it appears to be the only way to go, as the other two options come to dead end. But this one has more of those, it almost has like a garden coming off of the walls of the hedge. There's various flowers in various colors. Some are longer, reach out further into the path. You kind of have to maybe move carefully around them to avoid touching them. Others are very close. But all of them are just wondrous. They're these beautiful mixes of colors that you haven't seen or don't often see back home. They are fairly mesmerizing. I need everyone to please make me a charisma saving throw.
Oh, no.
Excellent.
Snow, you can roll with advantage.
Alright. Natural 20.
Viola got an 8.
Beau got a dirty 20.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 9. I rolled a 2.
Wow.
I rolled a 10.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I will use my counter charm reaction. We can only do this for one of y'all. I can
Choose
give one of
wisely.
y'all the ability to re-roll with advantage. So I will go with
Oh wait, can I
Ste'yn.
use my heroic inspiration, or is
Yeah,
it
you
too
could
late?
just.
I haven't said what happens yet, if that makes a difference as far as like whether you fail or not. I've not said anything yet.
For heroic
I
inspiration, it just
haven't
gives a
determined.
reroll at this point.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's
but
up
you
to
have
you.
to use the new roll. So if she rolls a
Yeah.
1, she has to use a 1.
Fortune
I'll
favors the
reroll.
bold. Yes!
Did she get a 1? Oh, she got
Oh
a
my
2.
gosh.
Oh, a 20?
For a total of 0.
No, a 2,
Oh.
which is a 0.
Ste'yn, you get the counter charm, by the way.
Cool, so I
you can
re-roll with
re-roll
advantage.
Yeah,
That's so much better. That's a 22 now.
there you go.
What do we
Viola
even do?
D20 is going to dice jail.
Fantastic. You guys see this path, and already the flowers are... They seem to be blooming as you walk past, even. First, I need you all to please make me another dexterity acrobatics, as you kind of have to dodge your way through.
So Beau got a 7, and that was using the bardic inspiration.
Dang.
I was hoping for
That's
an
a
8 to get it in
17.
the double
You have
digits.
great acrobatics too.
Yeah, he rolled
No.
a 2.
Who got above a 17?
I got a 17.
Okay.
I got a 13.
Okay. Beau and Snow, can you both please roll me a d10?
I got a 1.
That's a 6.
Beau, as you, frustrated that you can't use the walls to dodge things, they're now covered in flowers, and making your way through, you do brush up against one, or one seems to spring out of nowhere, seems to just be there as it's blooming, and brushes against your cheek and part of your neck and chin. It has a bit of a scent to it that's pleasant, and it just kind of lingers on your skin there for a moment. Snow, what did you roll? A 6?
Yes, ma'am.
You are making your way through, and there's a petal, or there's some petals that are too close to the side by your arm and brush up against your arm where the skin is exposed, and it immediately is very warm, and then the skin starts to feel like stretched and burning, like a bad burn on your arm, and it's very frustrating. And you feel yourself like getting, instead of the whimsy and excitement you've had, you're kind of frustrated. You're feeling a bit angry about this. This is really annoying, and now you feel on edge as this thing continues to burn on your arm.
That's not how flowers are supposed to work.
Viola, can you please roll me 2d10?
8 and a 9.
You were mesmerized by these flowers. There was one that looked like it almost looked like it was metallic as it unfolded, and it looked like it would be perfect to go along with the coin in your crown. So you start moving towards it, the others not realizing quite how captivated you are by them. And as you go to kind of waft it in and breathe it in, you feel something splash against your face. Instead of just kind of rolling off, it's sticky, it's oozy, and it is covering...
Always stuff on her face.
I know!
Always
Poor
getting
Viola.
stuff stuck on her face.
It's a
Poor
tacky, like a sap. The others who can see it will see this kind of greenish sap on her face. But it is entirely covering, at the very least, your nose and like just part of your mouth, making it very difficult to breathe.
Oh, great.
You can't quite get enough breath to try to like run or dash. So you will not be and it's not being able to get the air you need just slows you down. Your movement is slowed some as you have to make sure you can still catch your breath. What was the second number? A 9?
Yes.
You also realize that another flower beside it has also let out a kind of like a misty wafting smoke that gets in your eyes. So now, uncomfortable as you are not being able to breathe, you're also slightly blinded for a moment, kind of have to blink it out and back away. Still somehow really just charmed by how beautiful this place is. It's so weird. But also, you feel this terrible fright as you couldn't see for a moment. The idea of being stuck in shadows and darkness is very scary to you, and you are frightened of dark areas. You will not willingly walk into shadowy areas for an hour.
Can I use prestidigitation to clean the sap off of her face?
Yes. Viola, you still feel like you can't breathe.
Thank you, but it's still really hard to breathe.
All right, don't panic. Just breathe very slow and intentionally.
No, she's not getting it, and it's really annoying you.
It's not very complicated.
I promise I'm trying, okay? Like, there's just a lot going on, and I can't really breathe very well, and I can't see very well.
You're
And
saying
there's
a
just
lot at
little
once
shadows
for
around.
someone that can't
Just stay
breathe.
calm then.
Beau, as you're watching this annoying back and forth that's not getting you anywhere, you start to scratch at the side of your neck and a face. It's become very itchy. You just realize now how much you've been scratching, and it's gotten very red as you have this really annoying itch.
Wait,
all
how would he see if his face is red if he's scratching there? I don't have that kind of eye movement.
Well, it has
Dean
That's
does-
Kassie.
omnisciently
Feels that
from the
way.
narrative perspective. It is red.
Claude
Mine is
whispers
itchy.
in your ear and tells you.
Stay in mind mails. You okay?
You're Barash.
Hell's Brenna.
Why don't we just keep walking?
Is
As long
everyone
as we stay out of the
alright?
shadows, it'll be fine.
Sure.
Oh
You're being
goodness.
so mean.
Let's just carry on forward. Maybe try to not touch the flowers as we go on. Everyone's alright.
Okay.
We're all here
I'll try
together.
my best.
Snow, why is she telling you what to do?
Yeah, why are you telling us what to do? I'm sorry.
Because it seems like we're getting off track and we need to continue forward in order to make progress.
Wow, the
So-
thing that I've been saying like the entire time. Let's just keep going.
Yes, actually.
All of you are so slow.
Will you lead then?
Gladly.
Oh, just
Beau's
keep
gonna
going.
start walking as he scratches his face.
Viola's walking very slowly because she can't breathe very well.
Actually,
You're
Beau's
also
gonna try
sidestepping.
pouring some of his water on it.
You pour the water on it. Now it's wet and cold and itchy.
Okay.
Viola, you're like sidestepping every bit of shadow that might come from the canopy overhead. Snow is storming forward in his frustration as you guys continue on. There are a few more twists and turns. You reach a point where one of the paths that seems like it might be the right one to go down is another one that seems very covered in more of the canopy. It's thicker there. The light is almost entirely blocked out. It's tricky to try and get Viola to go down there. You have to
Ste'yn
wait
will
a
hold her
moment.
hand and make sure light is cast on her coin again. And
It's still up to this point. Snow hasn't had to redo disguise self or anything like that.
It would feel like more time has gone by than the spell would last. It feels like it. You guys have been at this probably for at least 2 hours. What you make of that?
Well, Beau lost his armor then if it's been 2 hours. So
You're
he's
welcome to
going
cast
to
if you'd like.
recast mage armor.
And that's 8 hours?
Yeah. All right. Well, now
Recast
it's
mage.
been 2 hours. How long are we going to keep going in circles?
I don't
Why
think
do you
we're
think we're
going-
going in circles?
We're not really getting anywhere.
Yes,
I mean,
we
we're
clearly
coming
are.
across like some new stuff.
New stuff doesn't mean progress.
The
Doesn't
only
mean
reason
not
we wouldn't be
progress.
making progress is if we sat down and gave up. And we're not giving up, we're going forward.
Give me a perception check.
Everyone?
Yes, please.
Natural 20. I'm
Nice.
so mad. I'm seeing everything.
I may find the way out and you're coming with us.
That was perception. So I got 15.
So nat 20,
22.
15, 22.
8.
Viola, you're still very scared of the dark.
Yeah.
But it's
Makes
kind of, you're starting to feel a little bit of that bravery, especially as Ste'yn holds your hand and makes sure that the coin stays lit. But what you guys notice is you are able to dodge another one of those paths that is very, very dark. Poor Viola, but you do have to hold her hand walking past it. Just the idea of it's scary. And you recognize that there's another straightaway, but it feels like there's more natural light versus the light that's been coming from these trees and their fruit on them. There appears to be a more natural light heading forward and another one of these longer paths. You follow in that direction, if at least it avoids the light, or the dark, the shadows, going at Viola's pace so she can keep up. And as you reach another just 4-way large intersection of paths, and you almost feel that same frustration coming up of, are we even getting anywhere? Are we just going in circles? And even to make it more frustrating, you hear that cackling again. You hear Leandra's voice.
You may be making progress. You might be going forward. But you do know in the end, the light vanquishes the dark. Maybe you should just sit there. Just sit there and wait, little pretties. Just wait.
Oh, shut up.
Thank
And-
you for your opinion. We will not be taking it into consideration at this time.
Why do you guys keep talking to her?
Like I said, there's many thoughts in my head, and it's nice to actually get some of them out sometimes.
Yeah, but it's a bit grating at times.
Just
Jealous
keep
your voice isn't as
walking.
nice as mine.
Just keep walking. I'm sure it won't be in a circle.
You're standing in the way of this wide intersection. There's a path directly ahead, behind, left and right, and they all seem to look identical. What are you doing?
Investigating for any sign of one of them being different than the other or something that sticks out.
You can give me either an investigation or an arcana.
We're gonna go with Arcana.
Yeah.
No,
Is
we'll
that
make
for everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Are
They
they?
will help Snow.
Can Viola? They're not dark enough to scare her from investigating them.
No, where you are now, there is more natural lighting. It's not.
Okay.
Every direction looks identical.
Viola got a nat 20.
Hey!
Beau
On
got
an
a nat
arcana
1.
check? What is happening?
Well, I thought you said we could do
Here.
investigation or arcana.
21 Arcana.
Viola, as the fear of that darkness seems to start to fade as time has gone by, and Snow, as you feel this frustration starting to ease a bit, you know you have to kind of put your heads together. Whether she's lying or not, progress needs to be made. So you start looking. Snow, you start to look at one of the paths. You note that they are identical. And the closer you look, you have seen something kind of like this before. A type of illusion up in place. And it kind of gives a little bit of credence, just a little maybe, to the going in circles, kind of being toyed around with. Each one of those stops that you made that were significant, almost like a teasing, or like a testing. Can you see through an illusion? Or what's deeper? It's like it means something more. Viola, as you're staring down these 4 paths, determined to find something to help you, you spot down one of the paths what looks like a kind of shadowy grouping of figures. There's 4 of them in what appear to be an intersection of paths. You kind of cock your head a little bit, and it kind of seems like something in the further down is doing the same. When you turn again to look back at the others in this big intersection, you look past one of them to one of the intersections, and now you're looking at yourself. You all, as soon as you seem to come to this recognition of you're looking at like a reflection now, but now it's much, much closer. You all start to realize at some point, this was not just a path to walk through. This is 4 paths blocked by what appear to be mirrors. And you're now looking at yourselves and the infinity reflection of mirrors in front of you.
Ste'yn starts fixing her hair.
And
I love
you
that
said
movie.
the effects from the flowers before have dissipated?
Yes. As you realize that these are 4 mirrors, it's almost as if the illusion will let you see past now. You're standing in front of 4 wooden frames that are kind of now wrapped themselves from the canopy with more branches, more vines, these thick plumage, thick leaves on them. And each one of these frames over the mirror, you realize, has each one of your names on it. Ste'yn, you found yourself preening in front of the mirror that said Viola, as it happened.
So it has the names that we stated to them, not our real names, if we didn't give a real name.
It does have the name stated to
Okay.
Leon.
Well,
Oh.
I guess we match up.
Seems like it must be.
So we
Viola
go
goes to look into her own mirror.
forward, do
I've
the
been
same for
terribly
his.
unkind to all of you, and I hope you can forgive me.
It's fine, look at your mirror.
Any forgiveness needed is granted. It's in the past. And she'll give him a little tap on the shoulder, giving him a little burst of guidance for the next minute. He can cast it himself, sure, but it's still nice to give every now and then. And move to a mirror.
So you're each standing in front of your own mirrors. And as you do, and you can see your friends' backs reflected from your own and the infinity effect reflecting back at you, you start to see the normal or the expected background kind of change a bit. And each of the mirrors darkens a little bit. And each one has a little bit of that fog like if you were to breathe on it, and words write themselves out in a favored language. What language is that for each one of you?
Celestial.
Common.
I feel like Beau would be split between Infernal and Elven.
A strange, very, like, Spanglish style mix of Elvish, of you said Elven?
Elven and
Infernal.
Yeah.
They don't blend well at all. Like there's stark characteristic differences in how the lettering is formed, but it's still legible to you as this kind of mix of tongues appears.
Common.
Snow, you see these words. I can endure through trials and strife. I am the essence that gives meaning to life. Ste'yn, in that otherworldly, beautiful, celestial, you see, I am a journey that all must take, a crossing over, a final break. Viola, in that perfect, beautiful penmanship, you see it say, I give so much, asking little in return. My love is a flame that will always burn. And Beau, in this cryptic amalgamation of lettering that never intended to meet this way, but only in such an interesting mind could it. You see the words, though you may wander far and wide, I'm the place you return to, where love abides.
Riddles. A riddle.
Are riddles supposed to be connected to each other, or are they individual?
Everyone give me a wisdom saving throw, please.
18.
Oh boy. 4.
I got a 4 too.
23.
Viola and Beau, as you're reading this, you again don't realize, maybe you're just accustomed now to just this weight from the air all around you. And that weight has crept into your minds again, just clouding over, making you lose concentration. You're very busy thinking about people at home and things you need to be doing. It's not a physical weight, it's a weight just sitting on your hearts that makes this moment just very difficult. You can barely even concentrate, remember the words. You're rereading and just not sticking. So it's taking you a minute. The words even start to fade a bit, come back and fade. Snow and Ste'yn, you guys are instantly locked into the puzzle of the words. That feeling of weight is just already just a constant.
We dealt with it before, we'll deal with it again.
No
Do we
drop
all have the
disguise
same
felt, by
phrase?
the way, when he stood in front of the mirror bearing his name.
That's
Just 'cause it
actually
felt-
very good to know.
It
Thank
felt
you.
weird to, yeah.
Since Beau's getting frustrated with reading it over and over, he's gonna hit it with the pummel of his dagger. The mirror.
Okay, roll an attack.
They seem to have something to do with ourselves.
That'd be
Like it's very specific to each
22.
of us.
22 definitely hits. Roll damage. You can also roll critical attack, like a critical hit. 9 total.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and mark that off of your HP
Okay.
as you smash into the mirror
Oh.
and feel this. You feel it as if you had been struck viciously. Also, roll me a Constitution
He got a 7. He would get a level of exhaustion.
if you chose not to
Correct.
do anything about it. Okay, then yes, you would be in that predicament.
Okay.
And
he's
we will
just
find the
gonna-
proper rules.
Yeah. He's just gonna hit his head against the mirror out of tiredness, so then he'll take a lever of exhaustion.
Hey, you don't look very good.
Are you alright, Beau?
It's fine. Do you guys know what yours is saying?
Yeah, I don't really get what's. I don't know.
I think I got mine.
I use my magic initiate free use of healing word for Beau. You regain 7 hit points.
Alright, thank you.
Ste'yn's going to gently, breathe on her mirror to fog it up a little more, and then she's going to write the word death in the space, in the same language.
You fog up the mirror, your fingers trail along it, and you step back The fogginess or the darkness that had begun to reflect around you and your reflection in the mirror starts to fade. And you start to see the others again through your mirror before the entire thing spins. It starts to spin quickly like a top before slowing and coming to a halt with the back facing you. But it doesn't just look like the back, like it's housing anything. It looks like it's fitted in like a section of a door. You also hear a slightly frustrated huff from somewhere, who knows?
You can deal with that, you know. You don't have to be frustrated. We're good at these things. Did I tell you I'm one of my goddess's favorites?
Something evil can't be anyone's favorite. The dark doesn't know love like that.
I'm starting to think she just thinks everything's evil because it's not her or Faye or whatever the heck.
It's easy to let one's mind get clouded if you don't focus on what's important.
Death.
Snow will, in the same way that Ste'yn did, he will draw on his mirror and he will write love.
You huff on the mirror to give it a little that condensation. You write it in your little script and you sit back. You watch as the reflection reappears and you watch as the mirror spins. Nice little refreshing air as it's been, and then it comes to a stop. This section, you can see there's a piece slightly protruding from it. Appears to be almost like a stone, a half, like one part of it is flat, the rest of it is slightly bulbous, as like a semicircle, about waist high on this piece of wood that also looks like a portion of a door.
A portion of a door, not as in the whole thing is a door. Okay.
But you got the doorknob.
Part of it.
Alright, you two, let's figure out yours. I think this is the way we're going to get out of here.
Hear another huff.
You're just lucky. Surely you're just lucky.
Is it luck or is it light?
Or just love.
And death. Beau, what's yours say?
I don't know anymore.
Alright.
A little mopey.
Viola?
I give so much, asking little in return. My love is a flame that will always burn. I have such bad brain fog right now. I don't even know.
Mother.
Be
You
mother.
think mother?
Or family. But it seems more personal for
Viola.
I than the we.
Viola, thinking back to her mom that she saw earlier in the maze, she'll fog up the glass and write mother.
You fog up the glass and
I was just gonna say, actually, she would probably write mom, because that's how she addresses her in the letters that she writes.
take a point of inspiration.
Heck yeah.
And as you reach out to write the words, it's like the fog lifts from your mind and from your heart and from your soul. You can almost see a hand kind of guiding yours in your own mind. In the same way you were taught to write, in the same way you were taught to hold a sword, and that hand guides you to write not mother, but sentimentally mom. And the mirror begins to reflect and spin and stop as another portion of the door. You hear teeth clicking, like tss.
I don't know, you think the dark is so good at mimicking.
Sounds like you're in denial.
Alright, Beau,
Beau?
what's it say?
Beau's gonna, I guess, reread it because I also forgot what it said at this point.
Fair. It says,
Can we see it on each other's mirror?
Well, we can't read his. His is an infernal.
Well, I think he's
Furnish.
wondering. I think he's wondering if he
Fervent.
sees the lettering in general, or if it just looks
Yeah.
regular
Oh.
to everybody
Can we
else.
see it at all?
yes, you can.
Okay. It would just be a little difficult to read if you only know
Yeah.
one of the languages.
Yeah, you're not, and I don't know that you are. I don't know if you're familiar to guess what it might be mixed with. It might just be.
Oh, we've
Looking
seen it
on.
though.
We've seen it.
Oh yeah, you
I don't
have.
know.
A
Just
number of
kidding.
times.
Just
I carried
kidding.
around a note in a rubbing of Infernal in my
Oh
backpack for a
yeah.
while.
It says, "Though you may wander far and wide, I'm the place you return to, where love abides."
Or say that to them.
I don't know about y'all, but that makes me think of home.
Great. Supposed to be like
What?
home.
Home what?
Just
Home.
Oh, I thought you
Your
mumbled
home.
something after
No.
that.
No.
No, she
Yeah,
started
home.
meditating so she could get other things.
All right, Beau will write that out. I'm trying to mimic the weird combination of language that was written down below.
The first 2 letters are in the Elvish script, and then the second 2 letters are.
Are infernal.
I'm picturing like the top half of the whole entire word is Elven on the top and then Infernal on the bottom, completing the
That'd be
lettering.
Insanely hard to write.
Yes.
Like an actual mirror, like it's mirroring.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
So extra.
You would know.
One to know one.
Beau, as they offer that as a suggestion, what does Beau believe that's what that means?
I think that he is too tired and frustrating to really care all that much, so he's just doing what they're saying to do.
Okay. You breathe on it. You start to write the lettering for the word. And the word stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't fade away. But neither does the reflection seem back.
Any other ideas?
Well, what do you think?
All of us with something connected to
Personal.
ourselves.
Where do you turn if you're looking for love? It says where love abides.
I
You
don't
do
turn
know that
anywhere.
So
word
yourself.
did not fade.
Home.
The word,
Work.
however
Add
you
work
spelled
to
it, is there still. Maybe you need to believe it a little more. Say it aloud.
Okay, home.
Do you believe it?
Foul like a midnight beast, hiding right in plain sight that nobody's looking at.
Troublesome trollop.
Then show her wrong.
You can prove her wrong.
Okay,
Think about it.
thinking.
What does home mean to you?
Not sure at this point. Anyway, I am thinking. Is he able to erase it? Like if he puts his hand over it, does it erase if he like moves his hand over it?
Sure, yeah.
All right, so he's going to, I think instead of doing home, he's gonna do the city that he's from. He's gonna do it just in Elven that time. So he's gonna write Vendela out, and then just in Elven.
Start to write it in the beautiful, very familiar Elven script.
Far better than Viola's handwriting.
Rude.
He's had
Poor
100
girl.
Just
more
because she
years.
doesn't have centuries of experience.
The
Okay, Grandpa.
oh, Grandpa Beau's back.
He learned the proper
We love
way to
Grandpa.
write it.
Back in his
Back
day.
in my day. The letters linger as if the right direction, and then they fade back, and part of the mirror where your reflection is, where it doesn't, like it's still a little bit foggy there from your breath, it's almost like you could feel it on your own face, but the letters fade, and you take 5 points of psychic damage.
Okay. Then.
But the letters had
since-
lingered a little bit.
Then I would try rewriting home in Elven, since that was the letters at least stayed.
You rewrite those letters. What's going through his mind as you're rewriting those letters?
I think he's mostly just thinking about home and hoping that this works.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
My goodness.
The light won't be mocked.
I got a 16.
Okay. You're hopeful. You rewrite the letters in your native Elven lettering again. And just as you finish the last part of the last letter, and the mirror starts to reflect again, for just a moment, there is a face that is reflected in the mirror beside you. It's not your friends' faces looking over your shoulder, seeing what happens. You see this soft, pale face with these bright, knowing eyes, almost as if every time she looks at you, it's like looking at stars. And you hear her voice She smiles. You hear it for just a moment. You hear her say, "Soon, I hope." And then the mirror spins and stops. And there's a small bit of protruding stone, this semicircle of stone on the side of it. You hear more of that rumbling as you had heard as you were going through this labyrinth, when you knew that parts of it were moving, trees shifting, the walls changing, trapping you in. But now as they're moving, it's also the doors sliding into, the pieces of the door sliding into place to form this beautiful, ornate door with this carved stone handle. And all around you now is just these high walls, trees peeking over the canopy, those glowing little fruits, and this door ahead of you.
Let's go through it.
Snow opens the door and goes.
We'll need one more wisdom throw from all four of you.
19.
Oh my gosh!
Wait,
It's another
so
4!
wrong.
25.
I'm
Minutes.
using my heroic inspiration, but not with this die.
Don't get
Not
a
with that
one.
die. Don't get a 1. Please.
Good.
Hey, that is a 9, which will bump up to something. I'm pretty sure it's over 10. What was this? Wisdom
It's
saving throw?
wisdom, so-
11.
So 25, 20, 11, or natural 20, 11, number?
19.
19. Okay, I missed that. I was
And
afraid it was like,
number?
and low. Viola, as you four walk through this door, that presence just seems to want to hold you. And you get this bit of desperation from it. Something eager to have you hear, listen, understand. And whether or not it's the nature of this place, you're not entirely sure how it works, but you're left with, it doesn't completely hold you back this time, but you're left with this lingering sense of, there's more I need to know. I need to understand more. And it just sits with you. Snow, you walk through the door and you are excited for a place like this. Your excitement really never faded except when it was forced away by anger, which is still a kind of excitement. But you have this feeling of, this is a place that wants you to grow. This is a place that has been asking you, despite what Leandra might have been saying and doing, this place wants you to understand. Understand what? You're not sure. Maybe everything, but it wants you to understand. Ste'yn, you feel like you understand this place a little better. You feel like there is, whatever that feeling was just wisdom kind of trying to settle around you. But your unsurety with it pushed it away, and you are happy to kind of welcome it and kind of ease yourself in this land, in this realm. You don't want to be a stranger, per se. You want it to welcome you back. There's more to learn. Beau, that voice, that face, that person that's missing, and you're trying to find her, trying to get back to her. Whatever that wisdom about this place that you are starting to kind of understand more of, it feels like it's her voice as you're understanding more. It feels like she's somehow part of this, maybe? And you're definitely on the right track as far as you have been talking to these druids about what you need to do to kind of get that necklace home where it belongs. In fact, it feels warm on you. With a nat 20, you know it's her. And there is something that feels like you've stepped in the right direction here. And as you all step through this door, you find yourselves standing outside of a cute little cottage. This spacious little clearing. It is outside of a tree-looking cottage, and there's a little farm further down and a garden with a lovely little bench. And sitting on that little bench, you see what for a moment you think is some burning golden creature, lithe, beautiful, hair glowing like sun, hands are this warm orange tone, has pointed ears going past her hair, and apparel is lush green summer flora. But the face tells you that it's Leandra as she looks at the four of you, and she looks angry, but she's not poised to strike. She just looks angry as she looks at the four of you. And there's just Ste'yn, you can tell for sure that the anger is really coming from like a confusion. She doesn't understand something about you. She addresses the four of you, shaking her head. What are you?
Vivere.
I think it's more who than what. But yeah.
You still haven't even told us what
What's wrong?
you are.
Not many of us where you're from. I'm an Eldrin. Made me mad.
I feel like we should be the ones upset because you just kind of
we are the
tortured
ones
us
upset.
a little bit
Yep.
for like the last
Ready to just
2 to 3 hours.
get out of here, I think.
We're fine. I don't know. I think it was kind of fun. But what's wrong? Why you seem angry, confused? Why?
There is darkness in you. Then how do you act like you do? How do you get through something only someone with feeling, someone who understands what it is to be alive could get through? Creatures from the dark
Maybe.
don't understand what that means. Any of those words that you said, except maybe death. But even that they don't fully understand.
Well, then that would tell you one of two things. Either you are seeing what you expect to see, and you're looking for the dark, and that's why you're finding it, or you don't understand the dark. Either way, it's a misunderstanding on your part. Maybe we all have something to learn.
And her eyes fall on you again, Beau. Again, that disbelief and shaking her head. Well, you make the least sense. I thought it was just you, but no. All four of you, there's something about you. And she stands up. She doesn't approach, but you see her look at you, Ste'yn, and as if to mimic, she touches her own hair where your hair falls. She looks at you, Snow, and she just seems to touch a different part of her hair. Both of you having that white hair. She looks at you, Viola, kind of hands on her hips where your swords would be. And she looks at you, Beau, and she kind of crosses her arm and just kind of tapping her chest where your heart would be sitting. No, there's something about you four. You're odd. You're very, very odd.
Well, that
like you
doesn't
don't-
matter. You told us you would take us to Bull Swamp when we're done with your labyrinth. Now let's go.
Is there more you glean about us?
Oh, there's a lot, but and you see she kind of holds a word back. Your friend would rather you carry on. It's not a far trip, but I can take
We can
you.
walk and talk.
I'm afraid of what you might say. Very strange.
Then walk fast.
Maybe we can ease your fear. Maybe I can ease your
I
fear.
said
If I go look at Beau.
Maybe we can. Maybe I can.
Maybe not everyone should talk.
She
I'm a
stands
great
up.
walker.
Her fists are clenched. All of her movements seem very stiff, and you can just tell that there is that anger, that fieriness that's radiating off of this summer form of hers. And she beckons you to follow her, turns and starts walking out of this clearing where her cottage is and back towards the trees. You following?
Mhm.
It's only maybe a quarter mile of walking. Her shoulders are very stiff as she goes. She eventually stops in what doesn't appear to be much. It's just part of where the trees are kind of overhanging. The ground is scattered with some leaves, some bits of fruit. Maybe an animal might have chewed some and left it to sit there. You see her put her hands on one of the trees, and another kind of circle starts to appear. It's this bright, white, two-dimensional rift in the air. She steps back. Your destination's on the other side. I've done my part. But whatever you four are, well, I hope you don't make things worse. Go on.
We
Thank
won't.
you. Thank you for bringing us here. I think we all have light and darkness inside us, but I think what matters is what part of us we choose to act on. think it's our actions that define us. And he grows a primrose. It's yellow in the middle and ringed in a warm red that kind of matches with her summer hues. And he offers it to her.
She takes it, and you see it bloom even more. So it's the kind of like opens up as it touches her hand. The edges of it start to kind of singe a little bit even. She holds it and then holds it by her side. No, if that's what you believe, that's all well and good. But darkness and light are not meant to mix.
They may not be meant to, but if they are, then it's up to us to figure out what that means for the world and how we can grow from that.
What are you doing out there anyway?
Bringing light to the shadow, or perhaps bringing love to the shadow.
Is that what you all agree on? She looks at you, Beau, in your aggravated state.
What are you asking me?
Do you agree with what your friend from the light said about why you're doing this or what you're doing out?
Can my friend restate it?
I said we're bringing light, maybe love, to the shadows.
I don't know if I would use such colorful language.
With the substance of it, you agree?
Not sure. I would just have to mull it over.
I think you four have plenty to mull over. But you're wasting time. I've done what I said I would do.
Thank you.
I have some words for my friends when I see them next.
Okay, bye. Viola steps through the portal.
We're going.
It was
Right.
lovely meeting you.
Beau, did you also go through?
Beau held back. Did everybody go through as soon as they said something?
Ste'yn went basically right after Viola went.
Okay.
If it doesn't look like Beau is starting to move, then he would wait.
I mean, Beau is
'Cause
going to start
he
moving,
initially-
so he's not like heeled to the ground or anything like that. So it gives the impression
And
that
the
he's
way
going to walk.
If it looks like Beau is going, then he would probably go.
Okay. Once he goes, Beau's going to pause, and then he's going to turn to her. Do you know an elf named Lishana Leodon?
What will you give me for the information?
What do you want?
I want to know what you are.
You hold up your end of the bargain first, then.
I don't know, how do I trust a little fake midnight beast like you?
I assume you can cut me off from leaving if you want.
Kind of holds her fingers up like she's about to snap. I could.
So there's your guarantee.
Fair enough. You see, she kind of like takes a half step back as if she does not want to be terribly close to you still. Okay. There are a few elves about your plane, your realms, who know their way of connection to nature, to all kinds of great things. A few very great standout ones. Yes, that name's come up. It's like she's part of the star.
And is she here now?
Right here?
In this plane?
No.
Insight check.
Ever?
Oh, he could have gotten a 19. Instead, he has a 4 plus 3, so 7.
no.
He does. I'm gonna try a psionic die. That makes it a 10.
Okay.
Is it enough?
It is enough. She is not lying to you. You can't tell how forthcoming she is as far as being, entirely, hey, here's the details. But her saying no is not a lie, as far as you understand.
Okay. And that's all you have to tell me on her.
That's all you asked. Was she here?
Fair enough.
Did you have something more you wanted to ask? Because I'll happily take more for the trade. I love to know things.
No, that's everything.
All right. Well, how did you get like this?
I'm a den fear. I devour the light to live.
You can see her fingers kind of twitching as she glares at you. You don't look like one of those creatures.
Well, it's what I am, and that's what you asked. Unless you want to make a deal.
Okay. Actually. How about we see? I'll let you.
I mean, I'm okay with her
you can
role.
kind of see. Oh, okay. I mean,
well, what we...
I was gonna say, if you could attempt to essentially persuade her, you can see like there's something she clearly wants to know more. She has another question. I will allow you to attempt to persuade her if there's more to know.
Sure, he's kind of egging her on to see how desperate she is for this. Again, I would have had a 19, but it's not that because I rolled a 6, so that makes it a 15 or a 16.
You do not need to mark your die.
Okay.
She looks at you. Fine, one more question. One, I want to know, and you need to tell me detail. I want to know. How are you walking around like this? Faking that you're something you're not.
Well, since you want to know so much, I want an item, not a question.
What do you want?
I want a cloak, a magical one.
I don't have one on hand. What are you looking for?
One
I could probably procure something.
One that will help me in the shadows. On surface level, he's talking about the cloak of bats.
I could make something happen.
All right. Well, if you can make something happen, once I get it, I will answer everything you have.
And she looks incredibly upset by this. You won't take me on my word? I've been nothing
You
but honest.
have a guarantee of cutting off my way home. I don't have a guarantee that you'll give me what I want.
Once you step through that portal, of which we're running out of time.
Oh, well, you've already said you have the means to do what you need to interact.
Lowers her hand in a huff.
I'm sure you can
And then
contact me when you have it ready.
She glares at you. And she holds out her hand to shake.
Go shake.
Give me a strength athletics.
Oh, dear. With disadvantage?
How firm is this handshake?
Very firm.
I got a 1, so that's a 0. That's 2 zeros.
Most
2 zeros
uncomfortable
and the
handshake ever.
Ew, 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 lip handshake, ew. She shakes your hand and she squeezes it. And it's almost painful. Kind of takes you by surprise for a moment as she kind of leans in a little bit. Whatever it is about the four of you, I'm going to figure it out. And until I do, if you make things any worse out there, if you make things worse here, you'll live to regret it. And she lets go of your hand. So go. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Fair enough. Thank you. And then he'll leave.
And you step out. As you step through, as all four of you had stepped through, you felt that familiar kind of viscous liquid splash across your face. The colors seem to reverse from that painful bright white, the colors of the illuminated forest, the silver and the rich earthy browns and greens, that then start to dim into kind of a mossy green, gray, brown mixture. You step out and your feet kind of squelch. For half a moment, you're afraid that you're back in some kind of raging river, just water, until you realize you are on relatively solid ground. But it is very damp, very moist. Your feet sink unevenly
How hot is it?
in it. It's humid. End of summer hot. And further south, it's pretty warm actually, yeah. Warm, humid. Immediately you kind of feel like you're sticky and sweaty as you step out away from the beautiful, strange climbs of the illuminated forest in the Fey realm, and in the very familiar, clinging, dripping, dreary climbs of Bull Swamp. That is where we will end tonight's session. Catch up and recapture your favorite moments by subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you for joining, journeying with us to bring clean content to the world of tabletop RPGs. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We are at 191 subscribers last I checked, and we are on the push to 200 subscribers before the end of the year. When we get that goal, because I'm very confident in us. Our lovely Catherine here is going to run an incredibly fun, unique one-shot for us here on the stream. Very excited. And I think we said if we hit it before the end of the month, we'll do something wacky wild, like make it it's a little marathon day. Are you sure, Catherine? Are you sure? Are you ready for that? We got the thumbs up. Wait.
It's not doing it, but we got the thumbs up. There we go.
I am. Based off of what we have it planned at. I could easily see it taking that long regardless.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, kind of. Yeah, like, subscribe, help us get to 200 subscribers, and help us with the algorithm by leaving comments below of your favorite part of tonight's session, your favorite part from all of our sessions, and also answering our question for the evening, which is, how do you respond to someone who slights you? Honestly, I thought we were going to get more Beau lore, and then he's like, no, I want an item, not more answers to my deep, dark character history, and I could give away more about Beau. No, man. Anyway, a particularly huge thanks to my players, whose links are in the description below. Please take a moment to follow these tremendous people and their exciting endeavors. David, who plays Beau, Catherine, who plays Ste'yn, Kassie, who plays Viola, and Josh, who plays Snow. I'm Brenna, I'm your storyteller for this adventure, and we will see you back here next time. Safe travels after 40 sessions! What? Safe travels until we meet again.